15,000 strong on Facebook. Welcome to the Droids We're Looking For podcast. And it starts now.
And here we go.
Podcast. All right, so welcome to the Droids We're Looking For podcast, episode
26?
20. No,
23. I'm sorry.
23.
23.
Number 23. Nope. Yeah.
Thank you.
Jim Carrey will be on the no.
I actually wrote that down so that I
Number
wouldn't forget
20.
when I was making some notes today.
That was a good movie, the number 23. I don't know if everyone's seen that, but I thought it was a phenomenal film.
Wasn't that the number 13?
No, it was 23.
It was 23?
Because it was like the whole, he was seeing 23 and everything. Everything
Oh,
was
okay.
adding up to 23.
All right. Yeah.
Which then they made a ripoff called Knowing years later. And I think that was the one that was 13 or something like that.
Okay.
With Nicolas Cage, because he's a great actor. And
We all love him.
his acting in Con Air was inspirational. Get my bunny. But we're going to talk about The Walking Dead episode 16, the season finale, the episode called A. Like, that was awesome. A. Not Canadian A, but the letter A. So, what do we think about this episode? What's our first impressions of how this episode went, I guess, before we start getting in the questionnaire?
I think after going on Twitter and Facebook, I think I was the only person that didn't seem to mind it because that's exactly what a cliffhanger is. What the hell's happening next? And now we have to wait 7 months. That, like, yeah, I that's what I expected. I expected someone to die, but at the same time, like, the ending was, well, that's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
I think it was good because they made you believe a fake storyline was going to occur. Like, I think that was the huge boost, was that a huge death, and we're all like waiting. Like, who's it going to be? Like, I mean, we're all freaking out at the end. Like, what? They lived? I felt like I was ripped off. I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to see a death of some sort.
Well, we did.
Well, we did, but I mean,
And it was brutal.
We saw lots of death in that episode.
so we got to meet Vampire Rick. I liked his character there. I think that was good. I know he does that in the comic book. It eludes me when that occurred. But the whole stabbing and ripping out the entire stomach / chest cavity, that was pretty intense. And I think that it's nice to see that, where you get to see the more brutal side of how this world can be now. We didn't really see that before. Not to this level anyways. Unless you've seen someone get their chest cavity ripped open.
I think that was a paternal instinct, though, that, like, you were about to murder my son. I'm gonna take full vengeance on you now, sir, and just rip you from head to toe. Literally rip you a new one.
Now, with the flashbacks to Herschel teaching Rick the farm to live rather than just survive, not just for himself, but for Carl were pretty powerful contrasts to what we saw in the episode. It was kind of cool to see Herschel again. I think that was the huge part of that. It's like, oh, Herschel! The moral compass has returned! That was the 8 point on our last podcast, was the moral compass. But does the episode prove that Herschel was wrong and the governor was right? That you can't come back from how far you've gone in terms of evil? Because now you're going to have to worry, because Rick, I think, is now where the governor was. Mentally, I think.
I don't think so.
That kind of fucked him up. He was sitting there shaking and freaking out, and everything was just running through his head like a million miles a minute.
Yeah, but the governor wouldn't have had a second thought and kept on going.
He did it to save Carl. He did it, again, as a paternal instinct, not just because it was... He saw the guy had a knife pointed at Carl's throat, and it was ready to cut it. So Rick acted like what I think any parent in that kind of world would do. Actually, not even. Like, I think that even in this world, if I was a mother and someone had my son at knife point, I would act very drastically.
I don't think that he's like at governor level evil, but he's certainly at governor level do what needs to be done. I really do think that this shows that you can't come back, because Rick tried to come back. Rick came all the way back. And in coming all the way back, he lost the prison, although there were a lot of other factors involved with that.
Right.
You know, and you see throughout the second half of the season how he's falling back. He didn't kick, when he killed the guy in the bathroom, he strangled him and left him to turn. He didn't, brain him with anything. He certainly had the ability to before he left.
I think I would have gave up his position. I think when I saw that scene, it reminded me of Shane when he put one in Otis's leg and left him there for the walkers. He had to make like a decision of saving. It came back to Carl's life ultimately.
Yeah.
But I think when he bit out Joe's neck, that made sense because he was freaking out. He saw what was happening to Carl. But the guy was unarmed. I guess the point I was trying to make. The last guy was unarmed. The guy he fucking gutted was unarmed. He basically was done. He's like, don't kill me, don't kill me. And then he fucking groined the throat, slit him.
Yeah.
I think a little bit extreme.
I see. I can't say it was. I mean, again, in that kind of world.
Even version Rick, I don't give a fuck Rick, would just have capped him or choked him out. I think this is the extreme that I guess.
Again, the extreme paternal. You were going to kill my son, Rick.
I don't think it was
If
more.
they didn't kill Carl, it would have been someone else's child.
I don't think it would have been Carl. I don't think Carl was going to get killed. I think Carl was going to be used as a meat puppet. I think it was nice that they hinted at it, but they didn't want to come out
In
and
a way,
say.
that's even worse.
And they said it. First we're gonna have fun with the lady, then your boy, and then kill them, and then you.
Right, but I think the point I was making is like they didn't come out and say that Carl was being raped. You didn't see it, but we were given like the audio clues, like the belt rattling and the positioning, and you were just like, oh my god, he's gonna rape a child on national TV, and you're like, AMC won't do this, and then the thought bubble forms over your head. We've killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. We have no shame.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, never mind. We're gonna see a rape.
Yeah, that I think, and again, as a parent, if that happened to your child, would you not react in that extreme sense? This is what I'm getting at. It's not just Rick did it as a person. No. Rick did it as a father to protect his child and to get vengeance on those who were about to butt rape his child.
Yeah.
Like who? Honestly, like I said, if I was a mother and I was in that same situation, I would do exactly what Rick did. I would have no problem. Like, you tried to rape my son, you tried to murder my son, I will have fun skinning you.
Right. But it also then brings on mental problems, which is the point we're getting to, is that...
Yeah.
Because
But
Rick
if
was
they didn't
already
have-
having a hard time coping with Tori. She's still there. I can feel her, I don't see her, but it's like she's still there. I think this might have been the final push over the edge of insanity.
It'll be interesting to see, but I really don't think that you can come back. You can try, but in trying, you're leaving yourself open to, bringing the wrong people in. I
don't think he just wants to take any chances. I wouldn't. I mean, look at all the bad luck they've had. I would be just as ruthless trying to protect my group if I had a kid than that Rick was. But that's me. I don't think that him and the governor are similar because the governor was kill and take things. Rick is, I'm going to kill you because you tried to fuck with me.
Right, but the whole change to Rick demeanor is going to be interesting to see now. Like, what do we label Rick now? Like,
He's ruthless. But
ruthless Rick. That's what he's going to be because the end of the episode, he had a completely different demeanor. He was a completely different person. Like, you saw him completely different before. Normally, if this situation happened in season 2, not 1, because 1 he'd be like, I'm a sheriff. So season 2 and 3, he'd just be like, okay, we got to find a way out of here. Instead, he's like, they're going to learn that they shouldn't have fucked with us. That's how he's going to... Now it makes me think in my head,
you know what,
he's going to murder everybody.
After what point do you continue to have patience for people? That's my thing. It's like, you know what, they've gone battle after battle after battle, and he found the Herschel's pocket watch. He found Maggie's poncho. Is it Maggie or
Daryl's poncho, Beth's shirt.
Daryl's poncho that Maggie was wearing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
but the Beth's shirt was the thrown for the loop thing. Because you don't know where Beth is. We don't know how they got the shirt. So I guess they could say it was in Daryl's bag and he was just carrying it, or
Could have been.
But if it was in, but how did they get Beth's shirt before they
There's
caught
no
Daryl?
confirmation of that. Everyone says that it's a hoax. That was
Is it?
Beth's shirt. Yeah.
It does look like it though.
Either way, I mean,
It could,
But it was the-
could
but-
just be. You
But
know,
the three big visual clues that they gave us was the pocket watch, the riot gear, and the poncho.
and they
I was-
said
And the
we got it
backpack.
off
And the
of.
backpack.
They said we got it off a dead cop, and then automatically I thought, oh my god, Glenn and Maggie.
I was
are
very
dead.
slow on that uptake. I was like, I don't get it.
Really?
As soon as I saw the riot gear, I was like, oh, that's what's going on. Because I saw the bag, I'm like, staring at it all stupid. Like, I don't.
Well,
get
when he
what's
said the
happening.
pocket watch, I'm like, that's Herschel's pocket watch. And then I saw I noticed the girl in the poncho. I was like, that's. And then I saw the guy in the riot gear. I'm like, oh my god, they're dead. And then honestly, I believe that they were dead. I totally believe that they were dead. And then they got to the train and everyone was in there. And again, that's another group that I would have no problem with ruthlessly killing. Be like, come on, like those who arrive survive, and you're promising this, and then you're just taking us prisoner.
Well, it's
Well,
a trap. I mean,
Well, yes, clearly it's
clearly
a
you
trap.
can't. What's the best thing to do if you want meat?
And this is
Fucking
what
bring
this,
in the cattle.
Do you not remember what I said last week, that it's a 50-50 chance that it could be legit or a trap? So now we know it's a trap, and I would have no problem ruthlessly killing them and be like, you just no.
I have
Fuck
to
this
point
shit.
out.
You're all dead.
I have to point out he was right on one of his non-predictions. He said he wouldn't make a prediction, but he made a prediction what would happen with Rick, Carl, and Daryl. He did call that. Do you remember exactly that Daryl would try to talk them out of it, which will end up leading to the slaughter? But then he said in the last podcast, but I'm not going to make a prediction because they're always
It's
wrong.
wrong. Yeah. And
So I have to point it out for once. I give him credit. He finally got a prediction. Took him 2 seasons, but he got a prediction. Good point. Tyrese and Carol went in the episode. Do you think they're going to arrive in time? Depends on what our definition of time is. And will they end up getting trapped before they can help? My opinion on this, I think they're obviously going to show up after they're in the train car, which is a given. But
Sorry, I should have read in time to save the day.
okay, but what does save the day though? Like, we don't know. I think that at the beginning of the season, I think they're finally going to kill somebody. They're just going to figure out who's going to be the dinner. But I think, are they going to get trapped? Absolutely not. I think Carol's character alone has grown so smart on how to see traps that, and plus she was always leery about going. In the back of her head, you could just tell that I was like, maybe we should go. I don't think they're going to get trapped. I think they're going to be Pinnacle and them not escaping, breaking out of the cabinet. Sorry, is it a train car?
Yeah, it's train car.
Train car. I don't know why I'm saying cabinet there. And break out of the cabinet! We spent 13 people in the liquor cabinet. That's impressive.
That's a big liquor cabinet.
That is a very big liquor cabinet. It's like a bunch of freaking Mexicans in the clown car. But that's happened. I've seen it. I have pictures. But I think Carol and Rick are going to have realigned motives. I think Carol is probably going to be vicious again. She needs to be at this point. Like, Tyrese is kind of like, I lost Karen, and oh, he's such a sensitive creature now.
He is. Well, he's always been.
a gentle giant.
He's always been. That's.
You just want to hug him.
And he just probably wants to hug everyone else. Like, I think
He's
that,
not like T-Dog.
the thing-
T-Dog hugged everybody, but this is Tyrese.
But I think if Tyrese were I'm rewinding back to the slaughter, that if Tyrese were in Rick's position, if we were talking about Tyrese, I think Tyrese would have tried to calm everyone down. Like, I don't think Tyrese would have gone to that extreme.
No, Tyrese would have ended up with a bullet
Yeah.
in him for sure.
Tyrese would have died, whereas Rick took what it took. He did what it took. I don't know if I'm forming my sentences right. He did what it took to save his life, Daryl's life, Michonne's life, and Carl's life.
Yeah.
That's what he did, and that's what it called for. Tyrese, no.
and
Tyrese will forgive them. Like, I forgive you for doing this, and then he would have gotten shot in the face.
I think the part, I don't know what your reaction was. I remember what Taryn's reaction, my reaction. When Rick knocked him back and the gun went off right here. Oh, just the mere thought of it alone. I felt my ears were like, bang. Oh, I'm going to be sitting here for a few days.
But I think it'll be interesting when Carol and Rick reunite if Carol or if Rick has any problem with Carol now,
I think they'll make amends after he realizes Carol's been caring for Judith this whole time.
And I think that
Yeah.
the fact that she smoothed everything over with Tyrese is going to be a nice conversation starter.
I think there's going to be a problem with Rick and Tara once he realizes. I don't think he realized she was in the...
But I don't think that's going to be that much of a huge issue right now. I think after everything...
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, the first half of the season, I think that's going to be on the back burner, and she's going to be into the second half. And then...
But how much of a hypocrite does it make Rick look like now? That he's willing to do whatever it takes when he banished Carol.
But
Do you
you know
think
what? I have
I
to
don't
follow
think
Rainer's
there's
point.
that.
I think patience is worn thin now. He's done
Yeah.
everything. He's tried to be, the good person of letting people
And
in.
he's got
Or
fucked
maybe
over
they'll
and fucked
finally-
over and fucked over again and again and again. I would get to the same point and be like, you know what? I tried and I tried. Fuck all of you. I'm just going to destroy all of you. Anyone that gets in my way, you're destroyed.
We've seen so
Yeah,
many
but Carol
stages
got
of
to
Rick.
that. Yeah, but Carol got to that point a little bit faster and was.
But
banished from
everyone
the
is
prison.
different.
Oh, that's true.
Not
Okay.
everyone's going to be some monk like, oh, namaste.
No,
and
but I think
please,
that...
please steal my stuff. Like
I believe Carol probably tried reasoning with Rick back in season 3 to say, hey, listen, this is not something you can monkey around with. Like, shit happens. You got to deal with it. And I think it was, in my opinion, Rick's hesitation to a lot of things that caused their own problems because he was trying
He wants to hold on to his humanity.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But now he's at a point that his humanity is going to be gone. Like, I mean, the first half of season 5, it's going to be killing. That's all it's going to be.
But it's killing to protect.
Right. But
Which doesn't, I'm not saying it makes it right. I'm
No.
just saying that that's his motive.
I think what burns my ass about the whole episode was the fact that everyone just chalantly walked in. Where's the guard? Oh, he must have fucked off. I had a break. In the middle of a zombie apocalypse, Joe, who is the guard, decides to go for a smoke break. What if a herd went by?
Well, that's when you saw the people at the fence on the outside. They have something.
Right. But it just bothers me that the show was just like, we don't have a storyline for guards. We'll just put a fence up on a day. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah, until again we got to the end and they tried to move, and then you saw the line of people around the fence.
Those weren't Terminus guards. We established they were stormtroopers. Okay? There is no
They were-
possible way that people can go make you running that way. Eventually, one of them is going to get hit by a stray bullet.
No,
Ricochet.
you might get some spray from some. But if they're using a small caliber bullet, they're not gonna.
They were using a 32. I know they used the hunting rifle, and then one of them had an assault rifle.
Yeah, so those are small caliber bullets. They don't really do a whole lot to a concrete floor.
But I mean,
They're gonna splash, and you might get a little bit of shrapnel, but
what
not
is the
enough that's gonna
likelihood?
stop you.
But what is the likelihood not one bullet grazes them? Well, what's the likelihood?
That was the whole point.
It all depends on how. Yeah, if they weren't there
were
to
trying to
shoot
get
them.
them to the
They were
train.
there.
I know what they
Exactly.
were doing, but I mean,
There to herd them.
herd them like cattle.
Exactly.
Should have told them where the food was. That would probably would have gone faster.
I'm surprised that no one had gotten eaten yet. I was expecting someone to be missing.
We don't have a moral compass right now. Really?
No, because Herschel is dead.
That's
and
right. So
everyone
who's
is-
gonna get eaten? Like, I mean,
everyone is
really,
fed up.
Dale was a moral compass. What happened to him?
Who's gonna get if anybody gets eaten like right off the bat at the first in the season premiere?
Well, it's not going to be Carl, Michonne, Daryl, or Rick.
No.
Won't be those four.
No, it'll likely
He'll be the governor.
It'll likely be Tara or
I think Maggie or Glenn.
I don't think Tara's got good job security right now. If you really think about it, it's like you could have a storyline, but you could be the doctor in General Hospital that falls down an empty elevator shaft.
The fact that you know this about General Hospital just...
I watched one episode of Friends, and that was the joke. Because Joey was on General
Oh
Hospital.
yeah, no, it was Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives, sorry. He was the doctor.
You couldn't even get that right.
Well,
Jeez.
I don't watch Friends.
It's so funny.
No, it's not! That show is not funny!
Anyway,
Seinfeld wasn't funny.
No, Seinfeld was not funny, but people think it was funny.
Anyway, so let's go back to the Walking
That makes
Dead.
me angry, I'm sorry. No, it's just, she doesn't have good job security, but I think that in the second season, her second season, they'll be like, maybe we'll give her more than 6 lines. We'll give her a little bit more. Because really, she's kind of at the same level where T-Dog was. It's like, we're going to give you a line
Well, really,
here and
she's
there.
only there to cause a problem between Maggie and Glenn once Maggie finds out that she was on the side of the governor.
But I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue, though.
She was on the side of the man that killed her father. That's going to cause an issue.
I would be more worried about Rick than I would be Maggie right now. Maggie still has her humanity and still has the, realize...
Really?
And
You think
between,
so
between those two, yes.
between those two, sure. And let's not forget that, Tara was the one that helped bring Glenn back to her. Mm-hmm. So that's going to work in her favor.
And Tara didn't fire her a bullet. She hid behind a tank. That's all she did, was hide behind the goddamn tank.
But of course, the only person that they have to take her word for that is her. So,
well,
not that I disagree, because that's all she did. But at the same time,
you think Glenn's gonna let something happen? You think Glenn's just gonna sit idly by? He's just gonna go, just fucking offer. Who cares?
No,
it depends on who's. It depends on who's doing it. I don't think he's going to risk a huge fight with Maggie about it.
I think Maggie's going to be upset that first Glenn lied, and second,
right.
That's what I mean.
I agree with that, but I mean, I don't see Maggie just doing like a murderous rampage as soon as she realizes she's there. But maybe this can give Bob maybe more of a storyline now. They gave him a little bit of an origins background, which we talked about last week, but his character is going to be taking Herschel's role as a medic, so maybe they can build something off of him from there. But Michonne and Carl's chat was enlightening.
Where's all the rubbing alcohol? Sorry.
He doesn't drink rubbing alcohol. He drinks Jameson. At least he has taste.
He drinks NyQuil.
It was a medic joke.
NyQuil, we love you. You're
This
giant
is
fucking
cool.
Q. The Q was talking to me.
Anyway.
You can get drunk off NyQuil.
Yes, I know you can.
And
that's why he was drinking it.
It was the 13th step in the 12-step program.
Anyway.
But Michonne and Carl's chat was enlightening, both for her backstory and for her where Carl's mind is at. Do you think Carl's more frightened of his father's actions, or with his revelations more afraid of what he could become?
I think he's more worried about his father's reaction when he realizes he's just like his father.
Yeah, that's a huge part right there, because you noticed some of that in the earlier episodes, that what Carl can be like.
Carl already admitted that he's just like his dad.
And Carl now knows to stay in the house.
Yes.
Yes, actually he does. Took 4 seasons, but he stayed in the house. But he lost his shoe.
Carl, stay in the train thing.
I think...
Yeah, the container, sorry. I lost my word.
Not to be much of a spoiler, but in the comic book, Carl becomes a very strong character. And I remember when we first started watching this show, I was like, oh, that's who you picked.
I think seasons down the
and
road,
he's
eventually
really
he's
grown.
going to become the main character.
Yeah, Chandler Riggs. I respect
really
him as
grown
a child
in this
actor.
role. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that
Everyone hated him in season 2. Everyone at the end of season 3 was like, "Oh, badass." Season 4, they're like, "Yeah."
I think a lot of problems that happens with child actors is that they're all afraid, or most of us are afraid. They all turn into like Lindsay Lohan. But from what I'm subscribed to his Facebook page. I don't know if you guys are, but he's got a really good head on his shoulders. Like, he does free publicity just because. Like, if he's coming to your con, he'll just do a video and say, "Hey, I'm coming to your con. Just wanted to let you know and tell my fans I'm going to be there."
Yeah, he's going to be at Fan Expo and Niagara Falls Comic Con. Like, I actually wouldn't mind shaking his hand and be like, you know what, you're doing a great job on The Walking Dead. Keep it up.
Yeah. And of all the character growth that we've seen from everybody that survived thus far in The Walking Dead, his has been, the largest arc. Mostly because he's a kid and you've watched him grow up in the zombie apocalypse. But, he's like, what, 15, 16?
Maybe. He's either 14 or 15.
Yeah, so I mean, he's still a pretty young kid, but for him to be able to carry that kind of a presence on the screen. I mean, when he's been on the screen the last few episodes that he's been on, you pay attention to what he's doing, because now he's not just, some kid that you make stay in the house jokes about. Now he's becoming a more and more integral part of the group. His acting has risen to the challenge that they've given him, and all in all, you're impressed with the way Carl is progressing as a human being.
I think the point of when you knew he grew up is when him and Rick took down all those walkers with was it the M4s or they were
They were assault rifles.
they were assault rifle series.
Yeah.
But I mean, you kind of saw him grow there, where he kind of not pushed Rick aside, basically said, "I can do this." And then at the end of that season, that half, he blew out that walker's head right at the end of the episode, saved Rick. It's kind of like where you saw Carl's character finally reach that level of, I wouldn't say respect, but now you know that he is adult-minded now, and that he will need to make decisions, and he doesn't need Rick anymore.
Well,
Yeah,
but he still
that
does.
was proved in the next episode following that he did.
Yeah, because you
And
see,
he's not emotionally mature yet.
he's getting there, but you see that he's still got some ways to go.
What about Michonne, though? We're still finding out more and more about her backstory. Very interesting.
I'm finding that there's a bond between them. Like, I think he's gonna see her as a surrogate mother, and she's gonna see him as a surrogate son. It's not gonna be a Rick and Michonne romance. It's gonna be like he's gonna look up to her like a mother or a big sister, something.
Well, Rick is due for a romance if we follow the storyline in the comic book. It will not be Michonne. I actually don't think it's going to be Michonne. I think it's going to be a newer character. But I think Michonne's character's grown. She's the same, but she's the different from the comic book. She's the same because there's a lot of action she does in the TV show that you can relate to in the comic book. But in the show, she's got more of your human side. You see it a lot more. You see the things that she's been dealing with since, when the walkers came and killed everyone at the camp that they were staying at and everything. You get to see that a lot more than you did in the comic book. So I think that's a lot more interesting, personally. And I hope they do at least one more episode on the show. Just one more, whether it's 10-minute segment or half a segment, just to see a lot more about Michonne. Because I think that'd be very interesting. But there has been a lot of loss in this season. The prison, Herschel, Carol, Lizzie. I don't know, is it Mika or Micah?
Mika.
Sorry, I'm going to call her Michelle, because that's a good name, and Beth. What's your biggest loss? What do you think was the biggest loss in the whole season thus far?
Herschel.
Moral compass. Absolutely.
I would say Herschel. I mean, killing Lizzie was pivotal, but I think I wouldn't say it was the biggest loss. I think it was the more shocking. But I'd say Herschel was the biggest one.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm going to go off the map, and I'm going to say that losing Mika was probably the biggest loss in the show. Herschel's monumental. Don't get me wrong. He served as the moral compass. He was everybody's inspiration of hope. But when you lose the kids, and especially the way that it happened,
very disturbing way, may I add.
Yeah, the way that it happened and what came right after it, with Carol and Lizzie, it just goes to show that, and reinforces the fact that there is no more innocence. Things aren't just happening for a reason. Things are happening because people are ill-prepared or underestimate what is happening in the world. So Herschel was devastating. I think I may have needed therapy after that episode, but I think losing Mika was probably the bigger loss because it just drives that point home as to there is nothing left of the old world.
I think this season was more engineered to have what the fuck moments. I think that would be better to say, because really season 3, you had a couple moments that you're like, whoa, that was messed up. But twice in this season, if not 3 times, including the last episode, where you actually stood there with your jaw out in awe. Because you had the death of Herschel, which mind-fucked the entire Walking Dead community. Because we all know Herschel lived a lot longer than he was supposed to have, because he was supposed to be killed in season 2, but they changed their mind. But the way how he died, I guess, really blew everyone's mind. And then the scene with Lizzie killing her sister, that was another what the fuck moment, because everyone literally said, wow, AMC is definitely pushing the boundaries. And then obviously everything that happened in the last season. But I think the biggest shock loss for me, and I know everyone's going to look at me stupid about it, was the governor. I think the reason why I say that, because his character was the perfect yin to the show's yang. he was the perfect villain. I don't think we're ever going to find the perfect villain again. I.e. Dexter, the perfect villain was the Trinity Killer, which was John Lithgow. He suited the character very well, and every season after that you're like, well, this doesn't reach the level that Lithgow put it at, so I'm not sold. Could they have got another season out of the Governor? Why not? Like, I mean, they're not traditionally following the storyline in the comic book anyways. And really, the Governor is a terrifying person. Mm-hmm. Especially, let's see, the aquarium's full of heads, just the many different ways he's killed people. But,
and the reasons, or lack thereof.
And the fact that he kind of sounds like Liam Neeson, like, that's kind of terrifying on its own. But that's just me. I think he's going to be... I don't think we're going to find another villain, because really the walkers are not going to be the priority anymore. They're not going to be the main hazard in the show anymore. It's going to be the cannibals, which we're now experiencing, and the scavengers and the looters. They're going to be the huge thing now.
And let's be honest, the walkers really haven't been the biggest threat since they left the farm.
There was only one walker death in the last episode, I think, which was the one you didn't see. Michonne. That was it.
Well, there were a few of them, because they did encounter that herd right before, or well, the small group right before they hit Terminus. But yeah.
They're kind of secondary now.
Oh, indeed. And I don't want to call them a joke, because when they do run into those herds, they are certainly not. But,
well, you can't always have Tyrese having a shitty day with a hammer.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry. Kill of the week goes to Tyrese with the hammer.
I don't know. I think Daryl with the golf club was pretty good.
Daryl with the golf club was quite humorous, but there's
mortuary.
speech knobs involved. Not really letting that go. But were you upset that no main character died?
Yes.
You were alluded to believe that there was going to be a huge death in this episode.
Yeah, and I was waiting for it right up until the point where they were all paraded into the boxcar.
Yeah.
I was waiting. I'm like, oh my god, they're like, as Carl was the last one to walk over, I'm like, oh my god, they're going to shoot Carl right in the back of the head. But they didn't, and I was like, oh, and that's the episode? And it was a little disappointing, but at the same time, okay, well, people don't always have to die to make it a good story, and there's certainly been enough death in this season to make up for it. So it was disappointing, but because they had alluded to it, but at the same time, I'm not all that. I wasn't all that upset about it.
I think the episode was gratifying and disappointing. It was the whole episode. You're like, oh, this is a great episode. And then you had that end. You're like, oh, that's it. Like, Taryn was downright pissed.
Yeah.
Like, this is horseshit.
Well, they've had better cliffhanger hooks.
Oh, absolutely.
Than this before. So in that, it's disappointing, but it's still a cliffhanger ending, so it's to be expected. It was just a little like, oh. Well, you could have hooked that a little bit better, but it's still good.
Absolutely. I think that it felt like the mid-season finale, they put more effort into that episode because there was just so much happening and so much death. And you got, I think that could have been switched. I don't know. I just think the ending in the mid-season finale was better than the ending in the actual season finale. But any bets on where Beth is? Shall we take bets?
In their bellies.
In a car with a cross on it. Now,
in their bellies.
I hope it doesn't go into that storyline about the preacher. It wasn't the end of the world. The preacher was just like, I didn't save any of my congregation. I am a horrible person. And that is the preacher.
No, I'm going to say she's in their bellies.
But she's got no meat on her. Like, I mean, she maybe weighs as much as my left leg. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, how many people are in Terminus, do you think? We saw at least
20.
At least 20?
She
would feed 2 people. Shermie would feed more. And he is a 10-pound dog.
Not even.
He's not 10 pounds.
He's like more like 6.
He's like 4. He's tiny.
I'm saying that after he's eaten a bowl of food.
Oh, okay.
He might
He's got a food baby.
Why are you licking
I don't know.
myself?
I
That's
don't know.
disgusting.
I don't know where Beth is. I don't think
But
it was Terminus.
Should we care where Beth is?
I didn't care. Said, oh yay, she's not singing anymore.
I think it's funny because she's like, I'm going to release the CD and it's going to be great. And everyone's like,
It's just weird that through the entire second half of the season, I don't think Maggie's once asked where Beth is.
She's too busy being pissed off.
And worried about Glenn.
I know,
and
but
squatting. She squats a lot.
Anyway.
Like, come on, her body tone, wow. All I gotta say.
She got jacked.
Like, fuck, I wouldn't want to be near her when she's pissed off. But I think no one really cares about Beth because everyone's like, one less food, one less mouth to feed.
Yeah, even Daryl's like, Beth is gone. And that was
That
the
kind
end
of
it.
bothered me though. Where's Beth? I don't know. Just kidnapped, and then I ran. And that was it.
He didn't have a choice though. There was a herd after him.
Right, I get that, but just his whole demeanor when he was explaining everything.
I think they just went through something traumatic, so I mean, I would be like, if he was probably in shock about
Well,
what
yeah, because he fell
started
down on
to
the
do.
ground and he was just sitting there, and then
Yeah.
Joe and crew found him.
Joe and crew. I have to admit though, that scene was really intense. I think the dynamic that was presented into that part of the episode really made that episode good. The ending kind of... It was a good ending in terms of a lot of shit's going to happen next season. But it didn't really satisfy anyone, because now everyone on the internet threw the computers in the air and say, fuck, 7 months ago. And now... That doesn't
So
bother
everyone's
me.
gonna watch the beginning and say, "Oh, we waited for this."
What's the
And
first
I-
episode be horrible of season 5?
No, I can't see that happening.
Well, we can have our bets. I mean, I'm going to stand by my prediction like I said last week. Is that the first half of the season is all going to be about Terminus, and then the second half of the season is them going to DC.
Yeah, I can't see them being able to stay in Terminus for 8 episodes though.
No, neither do I. I wouldn't be
It could be a
surprised if
battle,
they
they
were-
escape out, and then they lay siege. Keep in mind, there was also that bag full of guns hidden out behind the fence. Maybe they escape, and then they're like,
I wouldn't be surprised if they were out of Terminus by the end of the first episode.
Yeah, first I can't see them spending
No.
more than 2
I
episodes.
see Rick
I see
fucking
2
one.
episodes at least.
I'll even, I'll give the benefit down and say 4. I say there's going to be like 2 emotional episodes while they're all in there. One person dies during those 2 episodes. They escape, and then it's them laying siege to Terminus to kill everybody. Because Ruthless Rick is out.
I don't know. I think someone's gonna come in and claim their supper, and then someone's gonna be like, "Boom!" Head against the caboose, and then done. And
But
then
this
they'll
is
be
gonna be
like,
the
"You want
season-
him back?"
But I think this is also going to be the season that Sergeant Abraham is really going to get a huge push.
Oh, yeah.
And I
This was just an introduction. It
I
wasn't
can't
his
wait to see
main.
him with the baseball bat.
Sergeant Ginger.
He's going to turn into the Bear Jew from the Inglourious Bastards.
Aw. Such a good movie.
It is such a good movie, but I mean, in the comic book, he was fucking so vicious. And I want to see it because...
We will,
We
because
will.
they've been taken prisoner, and even the look on his face was like he was so pissed off that he was a prisoner. He was so angry.
I think but the thing that makes me laugh so hard is the fact that they dyed his hair and dyed his beard, and you're like, oh, you're so fake. I can see the fucking running lines, and I know he's a ginger in a comic book, but I was like, I don't think anyone would be pissed if he just left him blonde. Everyone would be like,
Strawberry
it's
blonde,
okay,
please.
it's fine, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes when you dye people's hair and their skin tone doesn't...
He's pretty pale.
Yeah.
They just need to draw some freckles on him. Yeah.
I'm sure Kirkman's
Freckle
got like a
master.
black magic marker lying
You
around
stand in front of
somewhere.
the screen.
Does anything have anything want to add on to The Walking Dead? Because that's actually not too bad.
No, I mean,
Honestly,
Hey, let's leave it on the high note because the rest of this is going to be serious and angry.
Well, I think that the first season, again, it's going to be a plot as to how to take someone hostage. That's me. They're gonna plot how to figure out how to get out. They're gonna take someone hostage. They're gonna kill someone in Terminus, and then they're gonna have some demands met.
I hope they kill that one guy. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Gareth.
Kill him.
He's actually
Just
he was
his
good
whole
looking.
face.
I was like, he is not bad looking, and then he, is all evil. I'm like, fuck.
Story of your life, eh?
Right, they're evil. Well,
I would have
I
dated
still
someone with
like
the
Rick.
personality of Deadpool. That conversation last night? Yeah,
I
good
said
luck with that.
personality.
Stage
not
4
someone-
cancer, has to get Wolverine's regeneration ability for him to go crazy, so
not
he can be just that funny.
Deadpool himself.
Wait, it wasn't that
personality. Personality.
all right.
Personality is different than what
Personality.
they look like.
But-
Harmony can find one for you.
I'll be honest. I'm glad that the season is over because now I can focus on Game of Thrones.
I don't. I have to watch the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones again because I kind of like. This isn't as good as everyone kept saying it was going to be, and I just didn't even finish the episodes. I'll finish it now, but.
And if you do need your Walking Dead fix, it looks like Telltale's episode 3 for season 2 is going to be coming out mid to late April. and then again another 6 to 7 weeks later after that, and then 6 to 7 days.
See, that pisses me off. Why don't you just make a season? Like, make a legit season.
They are making a legit season.
One episode, wait a month and a half. One episode, wait a minute. Actually, make it like a season, like fucking 16 episodes. They could have done that. You know how much money they can make off that? I would pay $4.99 an episode 16.
Well, they're busy with Tales from the Borderland, and they're busy with the Game of Thrones one.
And they did a Wolf one.
Yeah, The Wolf Among Us.
Is that what?
Yeah, it's freaking wow, it's awesome.
They also did a Back to the Future one.
It's based off of the. Is it Dark Horse or DC that did Fables?
Well, based by my face of strain, I don't know.
Probably Dark Horse.
Oh, great.
But still, that's what I've got something Walking Dead to hold me over, and I've got Game of Thrones and True Blood and everything else this summer, so I'll be good.
Anything you want to add, Tara?
No, I'm good.
All right. Shermie, anything? You're eating my hand. Okay. Yeah, I think he's got nothing. All right, so we're going to talk about how our fucking Facebook page got raped. Without lubrication. Recent changes have occurred to reduce our audience down to 1% organic reach. So basically that means is that only 1% of our 15,600 people, which works out to 156 people, can see any post at any given time.
Unless they come and directly visit the page.
And who does that? Like, I mean, do you go to any page directly
The only
anymore?
one that I went to, like I said, I went to Belle Shiles because I'm like, I haven't seen anything from her, and I went to Miss Sinister's because I know that she had a Wonder Woman cosplay, and nothing came up on my newsfeed. I went to a few cosplayers' pages and a few other pages I'm subscribed to, and yeah, I was like, I didn't see any of this on my newsfeed.
Yeah, same here. Like, the only pages that I go to on a regular basis are the cosplayers that I'm trying to loop in for interviews. And our own. Other than that, I'm never on somebody's page because I've subscribed to so many. I don't know.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And the problem stems from the consumer, but instead of pushing the ownership back to the consumer of saying, hey, it's your fucking problem. I didn't tell you to sign up to 150 different Star Wars pages. You did that. Your problem. Facebook's like, wait a minute, people are getting upset that there's too much news in their feed, so we're going to nerf everybody.
Yeah.
So who needs a business? Now, basically the tactic was created by Facebook to push more paid reach. So they want us to pay for a free social networking website. Does that make sense to anyone here?
No.
From a business standpoint,
They had
yes.
enough money. They had more than enough
They
money
made
coming
money
in from
off a
advertisements.
website that is free, which ingenious on its own.
yeah, well, by selling ad space.
And that's, like, they should not have to be getting more money from people who want to, who are using them. It's different when it's like, okay, well, we're using yours, okay, I'm trying to think of a good way to say it. They
There's
get paid,
something.
they get paid by the advertisers to keep their site running so that we could use it for free. Why do they need more money? They get more than enough.
But here's the thing. If you're going to push something onto someone, have a business plan. Don't just say, you know what, how about this? You want this picture to be popular? I'll push it out for you. It'll cost you $10. And during that $10, it will increase your reach by, I think it was something stupid like 25%. So 25%, what? What's 35% of 156,000?
Well, you want us to math?
No, but I mean, see my point, it's still not going to be good enough.
No.
Whereas before, we were at 10%. They nerfed us down to 1%. And even 10% wasn't good enough, but we got by. We got creative. We did memes. We did interviews. We did podcasts. And we did this. We did that. And we did fine on our own. But they feel like, well, there's too much news going on in the feeds. So because people are dumb enough to click everything, we will have to nerf everyone's business. Facebook claims that they are not a charity. And they're right. They are not a charity.
No, they're now beholden to stockholders.
They are a stockholder company that made their millions off a stalking website. I officially can stalk anyone I want. Legally. That's what basically the main function of Facebook is. If you think about it.
Well, it depends on...
You don't want to talk to you. Like, I want to know what Rainer's doing. I'm not going to call her. I just go on Facebook and see if she posted anything. Doing nothing, I'm going to think she's probably sitting at home playing video games, or she's I don't know.
At work.
At work. I mean,
Which is what I do with more than 40 hours of my week.
and Facebook is a part of an ongoing string of people stalking other people's Facebooks and then bullying them, are they not?
I think
Well-
that's in the minority of what people do on Facebook.
Am I poking?
Yeah, you can't even poke now. It's an app now. You have to download an app onto your phone and onto your computer. You can't just poke people anymore.
remember that day? That used to be so fucking annoying. But however, it has been researched that paying customers, the reach is not real, and that Facebook is putting on those insights, saying that, oh no, those people seen it, but we don't actually know if they did or not. And people have did it both ways, whether unpaying and paying, and compared it. And they found that unpaying customers tend to get better reach, so now Facebook was losing money on that, and now they feel that, hey, everyone's got to pay now. But their payment plan is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I can pay $10 for, 9 days, and have the Droids we're looking for advertising blog pop up in someone's feed once a day, or I can promote a specific picture. Wouldn't it make more sense to do maybe like a monthly fee of saying $29.99, your reach goes up to 50% for 30 days, and you get advertising once every 50 posts? I know it's a stretch. I don't know the Facebook world and how they justify their advertising, but do you think that would have been a better practical business sense?
I'm not sure. I mean, I would need to know how the business of Facebook works. I mean, I understand what they're doing from a principle standpoint. They're not a charity, and technically pages like ours and, say, Kraft, who's we all know is a big food manufacturer here in Canada, are advertising for free, and Facebook is driven by paid advertisement to run their website, or to run Facebook.
Right.
So pages like us, like Kraft, like everybody else, aren't what makes Facebook money. If anything, we end up costing them, because these people like us that aren't paying for the ad space on the sidebars or wherever are now costing them money. So just from a devil's advocate standpoint, I understand why they're doing what they're doing, but if paid reach is
to
not...
drop it to 1% is just fucking stupid, though.
Yeah.
I could see...
Like
okay,
10%, like before 10%, it was 35%.
Yeah.
That made sense, because I remember when it was 35%.
Oh yeah, no, so do I. But I mean, it went... But if paid reach doesn't reach the people they say it's reaching, then then it's definitely a bullshit move that needs to be seriously reviewed and everything else. But I understand Facebook's perspective, because people are advertising on Facebook for free.
But the faceless corporations like Kraft and Canadian Club and Guinness and all of them, they're paying. They're paying to have their stuff in their sidebar. That I know, because I get it all the time. Here's the difference between us and them. Kraft, Guinness, Nike, fucking porn sites, whatever. They make money. We do not. We are a fan fun page, technically, and we are not grossing any money. I can understand if we were using a page as a jump point to get people to buy t-shirts, hats, mugs, midgets, whatever. That makes sense to me, but we're not. We're just basically saying, here is our content, do with it as you wish. That makes one sense. Because you do this now, it's like setting the present for regular people's web pages. They're going to be like, okay, well, on your own personal page, if you want 2 albums of pictures, that's going to be $10. We want to charge you now, because we've let you post over, I see some Facebooks with over 100,000 pictures on it. You're using our servers to put this shit on it. It's costing us money, so it's not fair, and you need to do this. We're going to charge you, because we're going to be a cloud service for everyone to pull their shit off of, and then we're going to do that. That's what's... It could go that far, right? Because remember, cloud services would be unheard of. Now they exist.
It's possible that it could go that far, but again, that would be alienating the people that are paying their bills. Pages aren't paying their bills. Whereas people like you and me, when we're just on our personal Facebook pages, seeing those ads, clicking those ads, whatever, that's what's paying.
It's sad, because I spend more time on our actual Droid page than I do on my own personal page. because I mean I'm always checking to see our insights and feeds and where we're at and stuff like that. But I mean now it's deterring me because I mean Facebook, which was I guess in my opinion our bread and butter of reaching our audience for our podcast, to say hey, we just put a new podcast. When we put this one up today, maybe 40 people will see it.
Yeah.
Whereas any other time it would be like 200. Like we never got much traction. People just because for them to count the insight, they have to click on it. It doesn't matter whether they clicked in the comment box, liked it, or shared it. They count that as a reach. If they don't do that, nothing counts.
Yeah, our reach dropped significantly over the last probably
Well, we would
2-3
see
days.
on average 6,000 to 7,000 views, 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I might as well just take a giant black dildo in the ass at this point. Because, I mean, that I can justify. I can't justify that. Like, I just can't. 10% for a fun page, I can get it. I think what it is that people found a way around paying Zuckerberg money, which was the share for share groups. Because all these groups are like, I don't know why I should pay for this. This is just a hobby. Why should I be paying for it? And they did all these different little groups to say, hey, you share my page, I'll share your page. We call it Square, and then everyone gets equal advertisement. Doesn't cost anyone a thing. And they probably went, no, that's not cool. You can't do that, so I have to remove this for you. So then people made up an idea of, well, how about this? You comment on 10 of my pictures a day, like 10 of my pictures a day, because now it's going to show up in my feed, so Rainer and you can all see it. So that increases their insight. But now Facebook's like, you do anything more than 20 likes a day, banned. You're shut off now. They're monitoring that. So
I can't like me personally.
I'm just saying
or
20
as
is a
page?
number. If you start liking a bunch of different things throughout a day, Facebook's now monitoring it to see if it's increasing people's likes and insights, and then they're going to suspend your account because they think you're a spam bot. It's like Twitter. Remember how you post too many times on Twitter?
Yeah.
Same concept. The only difference between Facebook and Twitter
Twitter
lets
doesn't.
you do whatever you want.
Yeah, and that's
Except for so many characters.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the one thing that I do like about Twitter over Facebook is that if I'm following you, I'm always going to see your post, provided I take the time to scroll through my entire newsfeed.
Yeah, it does get cluttered quite a lot. But you know what? Sometimes you see a lot of cool things. Like, I'm subscribed to a lot of cosplayer pages. I see a lot more cosplayer stuff in my Twitter feed than I do in Facebook.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel bad for the poor people we met at Toronto Comic Con.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, I'm going to start a fan page and I'm going to get big for what I just did. Not now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm, that's, like, I don't have enough materials to start a cosplay page, but now I'm very hesitant because...
Like, you're going to have to build, you're going to have to go to other sites. Like, I'm using Tumblr.
Yeah.
Tumblr gets fantastic traction. It doesn't discriminate.
No.
But the problem is people don't use Tumblr that much because...
I think people now are because, again, it's... To lower your reach to 1%, again, as I said, is just... That's really... Really, to me, that's like, guys, come on! Like you're not even throwing us a bone here. It is because not, as I was talking about earlier, the Nicole Mary Jean, her cosplay page, she's got almost 600,000 people following her, but I don't see any of her updates.
Percent of that, what's 1%? 600,000? Was that 6,000? 600?
1% would be 6,000.
Still.
But I don't see
Still,
anything.
though, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you're
like,
part of that 1%. You're part of that 99% that isn't
But
seeing it.
it's random, though. It's not like a specific amount of people. It's randomly 1% will see your post.
Yeah.
So 1% of her crowd will see it. So it's not Rainer.
Yeah.
Still
It's
has that
someone else.
1% chance of seeing it.
Well, that's...
So, but what I was trying to say was that she had posted a status a while ago that said, that she makes everything on her own. She doesn't have, she says, like, we don't get paid to do this. It's the con that, they provide the travel costs and everything. And she's like, we don't have disposable income to put on here so that people can see our Facebook. And yet Facebook is asking us to pay them quite a bit of money a month so that everyone sees it. And I can't say I blame her because, again, she's got almost 600,000 people. That's a lot of people not seeing her stuff
And
that she works hard for.
And I think it's bullshit. And I've really been trying to promote the petition that's floating around on the internet right now to release the organic views. We need at least 5,000 before we can officially go ahead with it. And this petition went up yesterday. They're already sitting at 3,500 signatures. And that's a lot, especially that most of them, the irony of it all is people posting on their fan pages.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Well,
that's the
again,
irony.
because
Sign this. I know you can't see it, but please sign it.
Because we're not Kraft. We don't make billions of dollars on selling Kraft dinner to hungry college
It's shady
students.
work.
Like,
It's shady business practices.
Because again, like, you know, yes, I have a full-time job, but I have other expenses to pay for on a monthly basis. Well, it's really difficult for me at the end of the month to provide extra money because I want people to see my Facebook. Like, Facebook was supposed to be a free service, and they make their money on people advertising, and big companies like Kraft and Rogers and President's Choice. Why do they need the little guys like us who struggle to pay to pay rent, to pay our mortgage, to pay our car payments, car repairs, like things like that? Why? When Kraft can just be like, oh.
But it's Facebook. They don't care. They don't. He gets a new movie.
Yeah.
You don't care. Like, I mean, if you're going to fuck somebody, at least have a business plan behind it. At least have something to present someone.
Yeah,
give
okay,
I'm about to
packages.
take away everything you just put forward, and you worked hard every single goddamn day. You grew your page from 300 people to 15,000 people in 4 months. Here's an idea. How about this? We'll bring in a monthly plan, and then everything will be fine.
And it should be like
it should be something like that. Build
monthly
me something.
Plan. Yeah, a reasonable monthly plan. If however many admins are on the page, like there's 5 of us, and it's like, okay, if you have something for $25, I can throw you $5 a month. Yeah. But like, I mean, the people who, like, if I were to start my own cosplay page, I would be running it, which means that I would be paying it out myself, including helping you guys pay on the Droids page. How is that fair? How is that fair for, like I said, Miss Sinister is the only one on her page.
You're paying for his Caribbean island he is buying.
Yeah. Essentially, but
He's
I
buying
mean,
the Bahamas.
like, like Belshaw and Miss Sinister, Nicole Mary Jean, they're all their own admins. And they all, as I've said, they all make their own stuff, they all work their part-time jobs, and it's like, well, how do you justify that, Facebook? Like, how do you justify constantly doing that shit? Like, it's totally okay for bigger companies to just kind of be like, okay, whatever. Here, again, Kraft, like, oh, how much do you want us to pay for advertising? Here you go. Here's a blank check, and just write whatever you want on there.
But I think the point of it every day, we want everyone to go to the link they put on Facebook, and I'll be advertising it a lot, and hopefully 1% of our audience will see it. Ching. About the petition, we need at least 5,000 signatures to forward this off. I don't know what petitions do at the end of the day. Do they help? I don't know, but at least I can say I tried. That's what I'm going to say. And I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start pinging cosplayers. Like, you need to go here because you just got fucked out of your fan base.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for them. Like, I mean,
again,
like that Joker guy, or even Toronto Batman, where he's got 17,000 likes on his page. I saw his plummet. Yeah. And the guy is a known celebrity in Toronto, but his plummeted as well. That Joker guy uses his page to show off his art, but he also does his own cosplay. Just probably plummeted on him as well.
I haven't seen anything from that Joker guy. I've
he
only
put one
seen
up
one
today.
post.
I saw one post today, and it was really cool. But
there's another one that I still follow. It is Incredible Recipes, because they do have a lot of gluten-free stuff. I haven't seen any of their postings, and yet they have over 800,000 people following them, and I don't see anything.
I don't even see the posts from Facebook's fan page. Does anyone see the irony?
Well, I don't like. I never liked Facebook.
I did.
So
I did just out of.
I keep getting told that all of my friends like Facebook and I should like Facebook, but that's one thing
I'm not liking Facebook right now. I'm thinking that Tumblr is looking good for a new business plan.
Not just that, but like I honestly think at this point I would rather not pay for something that, again, cut down our reach from 35% to 1%.
Well, 35 to 10 to 1.
But it's still like...
So I can live with 10. Believe it or not, I'm going to say this for once in my life because I am the cheapest person in the world. She will agree. 10% I can live with.
Yeah.
10% I can live. We built an audience on 10%. I know the numbers are there. 1%? I can't build an audience. I'm basically posting shit to amuse myself at this point, which is not hard to do. But... I don't think it's fair, but...
Look, Todd, shiny.
But I think that...
Shiny puppy!
Sorry, I had to.
I think it's more worth to start our own website at this point, because if Facebook's not doing the job, then fuck that. Like, if that's how they're really going to screw people...
It will cost us less money putting up our own domain, building up our own website.
And this way people could actually see it. Just come to our page, and you know what? Like, we have different projects in the works, and you'll be able to see it.
So-
Instead of being like, oh, surprise, we have this going on, and then it's like, oh, only 2 people saw it. Thanks, Facebook.
Yeah.
And again, if we pay for that, it's not a guarantee that it's going to reach everybody, which, again, sucks even more. So, I mean...
I could understand if I had 5 million people on my personal page. I probably would keep reach at that point, because a fraction of that would be what? Like
50,000.
50,000? And then maybe those 50,000 subscribe to our actual page, and then when I share things over, that still build a reach, because I know people are doing that too.
But on your personal page, you can only have up to 500 friends. Is it 500 or is it 5,000? 5,000 friends.
Is it
You
5,000?
can only have 5,000 friends.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
Come on.
I thought you're free. What? There is a payment in the end.
But at the end, if you when BioWare was first starting to get into, they first got their first social media coordinator. She started out with creating a personal Facebook page for her, like a personal Facebook for her social personality, which then hit the 5,000 friends as her updates for the BioWare products that were coming were getting traction, and had to turn it into a page. And then that page, so that's how Facebook roped people into pages, and now if you want pages, you got to pay for it.
But do you think, maybe if you think about it in retrospect, how Twitter has verified pages,
Mm-hmm.
why doesn't Facebook take up that philosophy for
They
verified
do.
business
They
pages,
do.
but make them pay? Because they're a verified business. They're a verified income. They know they make money. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're willing to go on record and say, hey, I am ABC. Well, ABC. Want me to advertise your shit? Let's go. Do you think ABC's going to care?
They have to, because, like I said, in those suggested posts, it says, like, it will always come up with President's Choice or something. So they, honestly, they've got to pay. They've got to be paying.
Oh, they are.
They're all
If you
verified
like
pages.
Facebook, I suggest you like a shotgun, because that's the next thing you're going to use on someone's face over this freaking conversation. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But even more ridiculous, and we're going to segue off Facebook because it's a never-ending conversation about how we're getting fucked in the ass. Podcast lawsuits.
And just to give you a one last quick comparison on Facebook over Twitter, because I just got a notification. A post that we put up on Wednesday just got someone else to did they favorite it or retweet it? Favorited it.
Would that be the WCW one?
That was our Woman Crush Wednesday.
I was like looking at that. I'm like, can you stop breaking Twitter?
And you know what the best part of it all is the Woman Crush Wednesday that really got the most traction was the one that had the women with the most clothing on.
Is that irony?
You know what? That you have no idea how happy that
Rainer,
made me.
let's get some pictures going, man. You can be our WCW.
Rainer's always my Woman Crush Wednesday.
Oh.
No, you're not.
Not. Wow.
Anyway.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna read this little splurge I wrote, and I know Baker's done some.
Oh man, my brain hurts.
He's been really reading into this. I think it's disgusting. I was listening to an episode of the Nerdist podcast, and Adam Carolla is being actively sued right now for podcasting, and I think it's humorous because podcasting's been around for how long?
12 years.
12 years.
How long has the iPod been around?
I don't know. I've never really owned one.
Anyway.
I'm cheap. I kept the tape deck to that damn thing.
No. But yeah, I mean, the podcast was a direct offspring of the iPod, because that's where the name podcast comes from. It was a broadcast that you listen to on your iPod.
But basically all podcasters, including Kevin Smith, Adam Carolla, and even us in the long run, are now in a situation that we can be sued if they use podcasting as a media outlet. It's funny how generic this line is, which I'll read to you in a minute. Personal Audio is a company that patented podcasting on February 2009. Now currently they are suing Adam Carolla's Ace Broadcasting, which is a very funny podcast. How Stuff Works podcast, which I should listen to that, and Togi Entertainment, for violating Section 31 of their patent, which is, air quotes, one or more data storage servers. This is how generic it is. one or more communication interfaces connect to the internet for receiving requests received from remotely located clients' devices and responding for each given of the said request by downloading a data file identified by URL specified by given one of the said requested requesting client device. Do you hear the word podcast in any of that splurge?
No.
Very generic.
No, but you do hear a description of what a podcast is.
Beauty part is the people who are assuming are not even a real company, they're just people that buy patents and sit on them,
They just want money.
which they have been dubbed as
Patent trolls.
patent trolls. How do you think this is going to change podcasting? Because we don't make money. I think are we in the safe about that? You did legal, right?
All right. From what I've been able to figure out, looking at American patent laws and looking at this, what's come out with this case in particular, which isn't much, because right now it's at the very early stages of the lawsuit. I think Corolla's suing for change of venue.
Yeah, he's trying to get them to move it so it's not
in Texas, where
it's only going to cost him $50,000.
was that what it was?
$50,000 to have the court sit down of.
And
I don't think it should be here because he knows everyone in this little town.
Yeah, but so there isn't really a lot that's come out with this lawsuit. But from what I've read of American patent law in the last 16 hours, the case really could go either way. What it's going to hinge on is the podcast definition, and if the definition that's included in the patent is too broad is too broad a definition for what they've done. Because if you take the definition of what they have in their patent at the most general setting, that would cover iTunes. For music, that would cover, like, if you've got an album, that's
like playlists, essentially.
Pretty close, but if even an album is broken down track by track by track. So they could broadly say, Katy Perry's Roar, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Why would you use that as reference?
I don't know.
Oh, nice.
The first album that came to my mind, which probably says more about me than it should.
Yeah, there's going to be some questions after this podcast.
But, track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., that's kind of episodic in telling the story of the album, right? Especially, that's a brilliant one. The Who album that Pinball Wizard's on. Which one was that? Yeah. I mean, that was essentially a rock opera, right?
Essentially.
Tracks 1 through whatever told an entire story. So there you go. There's another. In the broadest definition, it covers any kind of episodic media that is out there. Whether it's episodic digital media that's out there. Whether it's a music track that you can buy off iTunes or Google Play or Amazon or whatever, or if it's episodes of YouTube shows. I mean, that could fall onto Jenna Marbles or Geek and Sundry.
So basically, you're saying it's a very broad spectrum.
It is, but the problem is going to be how tech savvy is the judge. If the judge is incredibly tech savvy, he could say that, wow, this is an incredibly broad definition and strike the patent down as being too broad, or he could narrow the definition of it, or he could just toss or he could say, no, this is perfectly legitimate, and then we run the risk of this trickling down to the rest of iTunes and Google Play Store, YouTube, Netflix.
I think the thing is that really upsets me about this is that it's so broad that it could be anything. It could be even related to cloud services. But I think it's kind of stupid if you think about it, because you can basically patent saying any character that has the ability to use fire and anything ranging from a movie to video games and won that patent. So everybody that's ever used anything similar to that, you can basically sue them and say that.
But if the patent already exists.
But the problem...
That's the other argument that can be made in this, is that the patent is from 2009.
Yeah.
And podcasts in their present form haven't changed since their inception.
Yeah.
You've always been able to subscribe and download the episodes in whatever order you want from whatever server it's belonging to. So the patent may not apply because the service was already available, and that's the second argument that they can make and hopefully win the case on.
I think it's not. Do any of you feel that it's fair that they should get if they do win it, or which they're not? I'm gonna live in that delusion, but they're not. That they should get money for this, because I don't think it's fair, and especially for people who actually get together on a Sunday for 2 hours, record a podcast, and then you got someone who edits it for like an hour for that, and then uploads it. We pay the storage fees.
Why should we have to pay for that? Again, this is going back to the same Facebook thing. Like, why? This is a hobby. It is not a fucking job. We do not get paid for this. Why should we pay you?
If this was a job, I would not be bitching. Like,
No,
I'd be like, all right, well, here's your $10 of royalty. You can suck my dick, and here's $10. Like, I mean, I wouldn't care at that point because we would all be employed. We'd probably be making a lot more money than we are now in our lives. So we wouldn't care as well. We're not a faceless company like ABC and NBC or fucking Sportsnet or ESPN.
But even programs like How This Is Made and Adam Carolla's, they get paid for it.
He doesn't get paid that much.
But they don't get paid a lot.
No.
And so, but again, this kind of patent trolling has been going on for a long time now, and it's been addressed at some pretty high levels, but nothing has been done about it because people are scrambling to catch up with the technology. And as long as people are scrambling to catch up with the technology, people are going to be able to take advantage of loopholes in the law that allow them to make money off of nothing.
Because that even can stem back to the anti-bullying conversation we had about the laws and cyberbullying. Like,
yeah. Well, that's exactly.
We're still trying to catch up on that alone because it's unheard of in one hand to think, why would you bully someone online? Why should we even have a law for this? But now it's gotten so popular. Now everyone's sitting going, whoa, this is an issue. I think the reference I made in the podcast was hilarious, is that I made crystal meth. Do you think this is illegal? Nope. 10 minutes later, it killed 2 people. Now it's illegal.
Ecstasy was what
that was. Ecstasy?
Yeah, it was ecstasy.
Now it's illegal because it just killed 2 people.
But and in the same regard, this kind of patent trolling being the issue that it is, and affecting the people that it's affecting, they're going after Adam Carolla. They're going after how.
It's random Adam Carolla.
He's one of the larger podcast.
If I was to go balls deep into someone, I would have went straight for Kevin Smith because he's probably got the biggest community.
No, actually, I think Adam Carolla's right in that special spot, right?
Really?
He's got a big enough community that he's making money, but not so big enough a community that they think he can rally people to the cause. And that's what they're counting on. They're counting on people caving under the pressure of litigation. It's going to cost you $1.5 million, Todd, to stop this litigation. Now, you could remortgage your house and sell everything you own, and you still wouldn't have that $1.5 million.
But don't worry, murder is still cheap.
Yeah, but the problem is lawyers. Lawyers have lawyers have lawyers have lawyers.
Everyone's got a lawyer.
Right?
I don't have a lawyer.
And when lawyers have lawyers, they have lots of lawyers. But, so, you see where we're getting at here. They're using that pressure. So they'll say, we're going to sue you for $1.5 million for your patent infringement. But we'll settle it for $100K.
So we're saying Facebook cut off my feet. Now podcasting cut me off at the knees.
And and Tumblr will probably cut you
So
off.
Herschel's got a leg advantage up on me.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not going good.
No. I mean, the problem is going to be when this comes to litigation is that, who has, I hate to say it, but it always comes down to who has the better lawyer in situations like this.
I think it's going to be funny because Carolla is a very stubborn person.
Yeah. Well, he's not backing down.
Oh.
He's trying to mobilize the troops, and I'm sure this podcast is a direct result of his attempt to mobilize, because I've got no problem with it, because the last thing I want is our 2 hours to end up costing us, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that'd be a piss off.
Yeah, because it wouldn't cost us hundreds of dollars. Let's be honest, we do this for fun. We
do this for fun. I don't know. I wouldn't care as much if we had sponsors or we were bringing in a paycheck or something, but
no, even then I would care.
I would care, but I wouldn't be as annoyed because basically anyone who is trying to build something off of anything, to try and get themselves known out there, they're basically being cut down on a free outlet. Yet again, another free outlet. It's like, Facebook doesn't pay me to upload my stuff. So in podcasting, no one pays me to do what I do. I do it because I think it's fun, I think it's a hobby, and I have a great time doing it. So why should I pay some other guy who doesn't even know what a podcast is not by legal definition, of course, that I'm going to pay him a royalty to something that he bought a patent amongst a pile of patents. He just said, pile A, it looks better than pile B, and I'm going to buy that one, and then I'll throw out those. I think it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I think that if you're going to buy a patent, you should be able for someone to go, whoa, do you even know what that is? Like, do you even know what this is that you're patenting? You're just buying shit?
Well, somebody else already created it and patented it.
But the guy doesn't even know what it is in his own essence because it's such a broad spectrum. You can say anything at this point. It's kind of like when we got all pissed off over the Candy Crush thing. I'm going to freaking copyright the word candy.
Yeah.
And someone actually amused the thought of possibly copyrighting it and being thrown out, right? Or they pulled it off?
They pulled out of Saga. They have yet to pull out of Candy. But it's leaning more towards the fact that they are not going to copyright the word Candy.
The point is that you still have to get a judge in a courtroom to go, yeah. Why isn't the bailiff going, what are you doing? Like, someone smack this person and say no! Because you get the frivolous assholes that are going to come in and go, today I'm going to copyright the color red. I like it. Why not? We'll start making shit up. I'm going to say that the fire that is being made by the fireplace that I am paying the hydro and the gas for, I should copyright that too. Copyright my own shit. And Shermie, well, we take care of him. We're going to copyright the dog too. Where's Shermie? Yep. I'm going to shave in a copyright logo on your ass so everyone knows you're mine. He's such a fierce dog.
But you can't copy Shermie.
Could be cloned.
Not yet. Soon, maybe.
That we know of.
Soon, maybe, but not
That
yet.
we know of. If
But-
you clone shit, then clone Shermie.
I think what it's going to boil down to is this is something that deserves a lot more attention than it's getting, because it has the possibility to trickle down into something incredibly more serious. Right now, things like iTunes, other than buying the copyrighted music from artists, is free. Your podcasts are free. YouTube
I don't
is
even
free.
think it's like a business thing. I think it's like the last 20 years we threw common sense out of the window for a lot of fucking things.
Oh no, this is totally a business thing. Because let's say I'm the patent troll right now. It's like, oh, look at this patent. Wow, look how broad it is. This could cover everything. This could cover this and this and this and this. Let's win one little court battle on the podcast against somebody small, and now that we've got the precedent set, we can tackle someone bigger.
But this is
And they're going to make more and more off of it, and things are going to end up costing the consumer more. Things that are free right now are going to cost the consumer more. Because it's going to affect YouTube, it's going to affect Netflix,
But here's
it's
the
going to
thing.
affect
I blame
iTunes and Google
this.
Play.
I blame this. I know this is being a broad spectrum, even though this conversation's about, but everyone will eventually agree with me. It stems back to the lady who burned her vagina over a coffee. It stems back to that situation where a judge actually sat there and said, yeah, you're entitled to $5 million. Even though it's your fault.
But the coffee itself was over the safe.
But the point is that you go and order coffee, you put the coffee between your legs because you don't want to use the cup holder, and then you hit a speed bump and burn your vagina, and you're like, I gotta be paid $5 million.
Yeah, but it was third-degree burns because the coffee temperature was above the safe limits that are supposed to be.
5 degrees, 5 to 7 degrees above. It's funny, the reason why I bring it up is because someone posted it on their Facebook, and I actually watched the thing, and I'm like, but still,
you're right. The idea.
here's your coffee. Thank you.
Sure, there's a certain amount of.
I'm driving a Dodge Neon. These cup holders don't fold. Here we go.
Oh yeah, no, there's a certain amount of.
Who wants to go to Short Hills?
It doesn't matter if it was iced coffee or hot coffee.
The point is, you made the decision to put something hot beside their vagina and hit a speed bump.
Yeah, no, there's certainly some amount of responsibility that goes to that, but at the same time, there's a responsibility of the person that produces the product to make it safe.
Right.
If it was in the right
It's
temperature.
the fact that she sued for $5 million.
Because
that's what I'm getting at.
I get the point that she was
$5
pissed that
million.
McDonald's. She asked McDonald's to cover medical bills, and McDonald's has my train of thought and said, "You put a hot liquid between your legs. What do you want me to do here?"
Like, I would honestly like.
They offered her a settlement. She said no. Because at that point, she was driven to get that $5 million.
Yeah.
Then you had a court judge go, well, you lack common sense in what you did. Because you can ask Tarn, if they hand me my coffee and I feel it, and it's too goddamn hot, it's going back in. That's too hot. Take it back. She felt the coffee boiling. Still, you see what's happening here.
Yeah.
The train of thought began from her. Well,
But there's frivolous.
it's a frivolous loophole lawsuit, which is what the podcast thing is. That's the point I'm making, is that they found a loophole to burn their vagina to make money off Adam Carolla. See how I segued all of that together?
A lot of vaginas in there.
Yeah, but tortious law and patent law are completely.
I understand, but I think that what I'm trying to get across is that it's like common sense went out the window. If this would have happened in the 60s or 70s, someone would be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you did this to yourself. Then,
Yeah, but the problem is that the laws back in the 60s and 70s were current with technology. The problem now is the laws haven't been able to keep up. To put it perfectly, the internet dropped on us and exploded, and everybody's racing to pick up the pieces for proper
You're
legislation.
right. And that's something that I guess the lawmakers or whoever I guess we can blame, they should have stayed up on top of that. I give that. But at the same time, though, if I was a judge in Supreme Court and like really...
But the problem is when you're a judge and you're hearing arguments from lawyers, you have to base your decisions on precedent.
Right. Well, this judge somehow...
And that's the problem that we're running into, is since there's no precedent, therefore for this particular item, because of the technology changing, they have to fall back on old precedent for laws that weren't designed to handle digital media.
I just think that it's just like humanity just doesn't... Humanity's only reason for existing is to find a way to fuck someone out of money. That's basically the podcast. Maybe I should name the podcast as, here's your top 10 reasons on how to fuck someone out of money. But it's just, when I hear about, well, I got this patent in 2009, I waited 5 years for it to mature. No, I want it now. I want the money.
Yeah.
It's a broad spectrum. I want the money. Hey, I made the Snickers bar back in 32. I forgot to tell somebody. Can I sue now? I have a patent for it.
That's like in the Simpsons episode where the guy sues Itchy and Scratchy.
Like, is there a statute of limitations on this?
On patents? No.
There
No,
should
there
be.
There should be, yeah.
It's like a pop ball.
A patent. Now, let's say for example, I've patented a chemical formula for aspirin.
Okay.
Right? So I'll just use Pfizer because it's the only drug company I know off the top of my head. I'm Pfizer, and I created aspirin, and I patented that chemical formula.
Yeah.
That patent is, no one can make aspirin but me for 10 years.
But when you make... I think I know you're going to go with that. I'm just going to say this, and I don't know, and hopefully you found this out, is that if you made a patent chemical for aspirin, and someone made a similar, if same, said product, when they go and patent it, is there someone going, already exists?
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
They don't make that product.
They don't make that product.
Yeah, the patent already exists.
Or if they
so
do,
they would have to pay me.
You get stuff from like Life or like the Life brand, any of those other brands. Like that's.
But they have to pay him a royalty still.
That would be
They would have
the original person a royalty
for up to 10 years. After the 10 years is done, generics can come out. Now that's how it works with chemical formula for manufactured products. There's nothing about digital media as far as court precedents go on the creation of it, because how do you create digital media?
Right, but why do you think they sat there and waited so long to call the pop fly? I guess that's my question.
Why? There's finally enough traction on podcasts. There are enough people that listen to them on commutes. There are enough people that are getting sponsorships through them that now they think they can
sat on your hands this entire time. And that's what pisses me off, is that they sat on their hands and they probably were smart like that. Like, you know what, podcasting, let's wait a little bit longer 5 years later. Holy shit, it's a new radio.
It's like I said.
And now they were busy. Oh, I'm sorry. Go, Rainer.
It's like I said about The Simpsons. The guy was a hobo, like Chester.
I actually do remember this
episode.
episode.
Yeah, and you remember, so it's how many years down the road, and he gets pissed off about the fact that, couple of years later, the other guy invents the Itchy and Scratchy cartoon, then sues him out of business for what? And it's how many years down the road? Yeah, that's the kind of shit that happens.
I think that's one thing they should take away from this experience and go, listen, you had your patent 5 years ago, you knew what was happening, and you sat on your hands because you want to see how much money this would flip. Sorry, you take a loss. That would have made more sense to me.
Making common sense is something that's never really existed in
in business
the legal system.
There's business practices, common sense, better enemies. I know.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's usually business practices that end up making the money and not common sense.
But go ahead.
But the thing is because there's nothing on the books, no precedent on the books for digital media creation, digital media expiration, or anything like that, and the fact that there's no laws on the books for even digital rights management with podcasts. We got digital rights management for music and movies.
Yeah.
But there's nothing for podcasts, so there's no way to govern it. So it's going to be entirely up to the judge listening to the legal arguments that both sides make and creating a new precedent, or he's going to fall back on an older precedent that might not necessarily apply to this situation, that could end up either A, being good for podcasters, or B, end up being bad for podcasters. It's one of those situations where it looks like common sense could rule the day, but because you're dealing in the legal arena where it's all about precedent and what's come before, if nothing's come before, the judge has got two choices really after hearing arguments. Either create new precedent, which most judges are really loath to do, or fall back on an old precedent so that their asses are covered.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to stay on top of this and just come back to it and see what more comes out. So will this end the day? I think an hour and a half is good enough. We'll end the day with Tabletop Day. I didn't participate unless we count monster truck rallies.
Did you want to give the website if people want to donate to Kroll's?
I was just going to put it out on the page I but if you know it offhand, it's probably adamcarolla.com.
No, I think it's GoFundMe.com.
Yeah, actually, it is GoFundMe.com.
Yeah, GoFundMe.com, and you'll see Adam Carolla's right at the top of the page.
I don't know if I can fund him. I know he's got money, but
yeah, but
I'll give support. But so we can end the day at Tabletop Day. Like I was saying earlier, I didn't participate yesterday.
Did anybody participate yesterday?
Like I said, monster truck rallies was Tarn didn't participate.
Well,
it was just kind of like it's a nice idea, but it just fell on a busy weekend for me.
Yeah, I got lucky. I managed to squeak in a Risk session with a couple of friends.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was good. I was dominated all of Asia for a good portion of the game, but unfortunately, I made an alliance a little too early and gave up North America.
That. It's all about invading Iceland. That's where all the hot chicks are.
North America. I gave North America and South America up so that we could, crush the guy in the middle, and then unfortunately he could turn in cards faster than I had. Built a better army, and
did you have the one dick that always takes Australia first?
No, I actually ended up with Australia.
There's always that one person that always invades Australia.
Well, we drew cards to determine where we started, and only two people were on us. Two of the three of us were on Australia, so it was just a matter of, okay, now I'm here and I can wipe you out of Australia because you've ignored it.
Well, maybe next year we'll participate because next year I'll probably have Walking Dead Risk. I'll buy that for Tarn because she wanted it.
Ooh, that's cool.
I like the Walking Dead Monopoly. We should have a Walking Dead Monopoly Day, even though we build alliances and then things get vicious and comments may be thrown at each other.
Friendships end over games of Monopoly.
Yeah, they do. And with that said, thank you for listening to episode 23?
23.
23. Whatever. Anyways, enjoy your chimichanga.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Thanks for listening to the Droids You Are Looking For podcast. Stay tuned for next week's podcast.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.